ago, Bill and I went to Alaska on a week-long fishing trip and had a fabulous time. The lodge we stayed in was in Soldotna, Alaska. And one of our trips that we had arranged was a drift boat fishing trip down the Castleoff River, and we were fishing for silver salmon. Now, we had to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning, which did not please me at all. This was supposed to be vacation. And even though it was the end of August, towards the end of August, it was very cold. So I had layers on and Bill layered, and the lodge fixed us lunches and bottles of water and all that stuff. And we made it to the place on the river where we were to meet our guide in our boat. And he said, there are some pit toilets there. Please use them because it's going to be several hours we're going to be on the river. So I went in and stripped everything off, and came back, and we got in the boat and we started down the river. And it was beautiful. It was cold, but we got to see the sun come up, and it was just beautiful. But I complained bitterly. Why in the world do we have to be out here this early in the morning? Don't fish eat during the daytime? Well, Corey, bless his heart, he said, you see, the best salmon are the ones that are caught close to the ocean because they have not had time to trap on their long journey up through the streams and rivers. And he said they get beat up, and actually the further they go, the more they're dying. So their flesh gets softer and stuff. So the very best salmon are near the river, or near the ocean. And we're only 8 miles from the ocean here. So we have to beat the tide coming in. So we're in place when the tide turns and the salmon come in. Okay, I still wasn't happy about getting up at 3 a.m., but that made sense. So we're sitting and fishing, and wouldn't you know, I filled my limit first. And we had on the boat, where Bill and I in the front seats, behind us were 2 elderly gentlemen, and then the guide, Corey, was in the back. And he had oars to steer us and stuff. So I caught my limit, and I wasn't allowed to catch anymore, so I started eating my lunch that I packed and enjoying nature and watching the guys get fish on their hooks and lose them. It was really enjoyable. But at one point, after several hours on the river, Corey said, "Is everybody okay?" "Sure," we said, "we're fine." Said, "Okay," because he said, "If you're not, I have a bucket back here that you can use to relieve yourself." Well, we said, no, we're fine. But once somebody says those words, suddenly I had to go so bad. I thought I was going to float a few crowns off, honestly. So I'm sitting there and I'm like jiggling around and trying to test, length of time on the river, bladder, all those things. Hold on a second. So I turned to Corey and I said, "Corey, how much longer are we going to be on this river?" He said, 2, maybe 3 hours. Okay. I said, well, I wish you hadn't said that. Because I said, I was fine until you asked if we were okay, and now I got pee so bad I can't stand it. "Not a problem," he said. "I have this bucket. And I said, I can't pee in a bucket in the middle of the river. He said, sure you can. He said, there's really no other choice. The sides of the banks of the river were 7, 8 feet, some places 9 feet tall, steep, and at the top was heavy vegetation. Well, in case you didn't know, the end of August, all those black bears and grizzly bears are chowing down for winter so they can make it through the hibernation. And the Alaska Tourism Department really frowns on feeding tourists to the bears. So he said, there's no place I can stop and leave you off. And besides that, there's bears everywhere. He said, you wouldn't want to be up there. I said, well, I can't pee in a bucket with you guys. He said, sure you can. He said, you and your husband will move back to the back seats. He said, the gentleman will move to the front seats. And you'll be in the back with the bucket. I'll move up front. He said, none of us will watch. He said, right, guys? And they're all He said, what a gentleman Corey was. He said, I'll even sing so we don't hear it.
I'll sing.
Well, I looked behind the boat, and there were probably 8 to 10 boats behind us. All filled with men. Strange men. I said, Corey, I'm not worried about you. I'm not worried about these 2 guys. I'm worried about them back there. Bill said, don't worry. He said, I'll unzip my coat and stand behind you and spread it out. He's always so good to me. But this fishing trip was his idea. So, every time I have a decision to make, I weigh the pros and cons, don't you? I mean, so I'm looking and I'm saying, well, I'm not going to make it another 3 hours. So there's 100% probability I will pee my pants. And then I'll be very cold and wet. And I'll bear the sign of that shame all day long, But if I pee in this bucket, there really is no downside other than the fact that these men may see me. And then I got to thinking, if these guys really want to see a fat old woman squatting on a bucket, more power to them.